Welcome to another episode of VGN Weekly. Members of the Virtual Grip crew will recap the previous week's races and bring us one-on-one interviews with racers, league owners, and commentators, as well as others from within the sim racing community. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. If you are a league owner or potential sponsor and have a broadcasting need, please visit virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. Thanks for tuning in today. Now let's go find some grip.
As the Virtual Grip Network gears up for another action-packed week of racing, let's take a quick look back at last week's race winners. On Thursday, AJ Hemmel led all 50 laps of race number 1 in the Red Light Racing's SK Modified Series doubleheader at North Wilkesboro. Jeff Aho fought to claim his first win of the season in race number 2, with Red Light Racing wrapping up the night at North Wilkesboro Speedway. On Saturday, Todd Liston stole the win in the final moments in the Bootleg Racing League's Outlaw SK Modified Series at Five Flags Speedway. Later that night, James Lowe dominated the night in the Bootleg Racing League's Late Model Series, also from Five Flags. On Sunday, Tom Ogle goes 2 in a row, taking the win in a caution-free night at Darlington Raceway in the OBRL's Cup Series. And on Monday, Charlie Widner took the win in a chaotic night at Phoenix Raceway with Maximum Velocity's ARCA Series. Now we'll take a quick break before turning things over to John Hine, who's standing by with this week's special guest, Aiden Young from the BRL.
Welcome back to this week's episode of VGN Weekly. I am your host, John Hine, and this week I am joined by none other than Aiden Young. Aiden started not his iRacing career, but his, should I say, VGN career. First race with BRL was all the way back in 2019, and it was a dirt street stock race at Volusia. Since then, he's gotten 290 starts. He's won 43 times. He's got 205 top 5 finishes, 3 championships, including a twofer last year. He won both the BRL late models and the BRL SK modified championships last season. And Aiden, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, man, you know what? I want to jump in right then and there. You know, the 2 championships you won last year. both of them, you had different challenges, two cars that drive completely different from one another. Which championship do you think was harder to get?
I for sure think the late model is the hardest one in BRL to get.
Why is that?
Just the way the cars handle it, you can't really push them as hard as the SK modified. The SK is more forgiving.
Well, this is true. I popped a right front tire about 5 laps from the finish last night, and I was really trying to save the tires too. And so, yeah, the tire management on those that's a different ball game for sure. The tires aside, though, I mean, is it? Does the competition? Do you feel like the competition's a little different on that one than the SK? I mean, is there? Do you think there's like more guys that can challenge, or are the tracks just more challenging in that particular car? I mean, what do you think?
It's just the cars are more challenging in the late model, and the guys are about the same. It's just the matter of the car is so much different.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked that, because I know having talked to a lot of people over the last year or so, um, they have a favorite one or the other. And so when you like something, I've always said, whether it be a track or a car, when you really like the combination, that's always good for like a half a tenth, especially on a short track, about half a tenth on if it's a street course or a road course or a bigger track, I always think it's a full tenth. But um you know you said the late model championship was the most difficult so every championship comes with its ups and downs throughout the season and all that. So I know that we were speaking a little bit earlier, and you said Oswego was your bump in the road.
Yep.
Tell me which car and what happened.
It was the SK modified. Just they had a wreck in front of me and just misjudged it and gotten in the wreck and just had to get damage fixed and come all the way back to the front.
What kind of finish did you salvage out of that?
7th, I think.
Oh, well, that's a heck of a back coming back. Um, so let me ask you. When you started the season, you was it you decided you were going to run full time and then see where things are go, or did you go with, hey, I'm going to try to win these championships? What was your attitude, when you showed up race one, week one?
It was pretty much go for it since the schedule didn't really conflict with my real racing schedule, so it just proved innocent to go for it.
Well, you definitely did that and able to score those championships, which is, that's something. Lowell always puts the stat of the week. I'm wondering how many people have pulled that off and won the dual championships like that in the season. I bet you that list is fairly limited. So I'm sure that puts you in the company with your Donnie Moores and J.R. Shepherds and some of the folks in that league that are that would be Hall of Famers if BRL had a Hall of Fame. So, um, you know, you haven't raced a whole lot this season. So are you going to race anymore with them this season, or are you're just taking a season off? I think you may have had one or two starts, but I think that's about it this year or for the
It's
season.
going to be a hit or miss.
Do you have any tracks circled that, okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to try to make this one?
If they had New Hampshire on the schedule, that'd be the one to go to, but they don't have that.
Gotcha. Yeah, the SKs wouldn't be too fun there at New Hampshire. Those late models might be a little bit of fun there, but yeah, the SKs, you need to do the tour mods there, so those would be a lot more fun. Well, how did you get into sim racing?
My oldest brother got me into it when he was in college. He let me use a sim rig.
Was it hey, come check this out, or did you see it and started, hey, let me try it, what was that dynamic?
I pretty much just had him let me try it because I always watched him and wanted to try it myself.
Do you remember the first time you tried it? Which car or which track you were at?
I think it was either Legends cars or Street Stocks. I can't really remember.
Yeah, those are usually your two free. Yeah, I got to assume that you tried it on his account before you got your own, right?
Yep, because way back 10 years ago, I was not of age.
Yeah. Well, you way back then, also I mean, even now, the tracks that you could use when you sign on were limited. Yeah, I think there's a lot more free tracks and a lot more options now. Getting into iRacing that doesn't cost you anything other than the monthly membership. Um, but to their credit, actually, because I think they could charge probably for virtually all of it, but they do bring some things in and let you do that, which is a really cool thing. So you finally get set up on with your own account. Um, so when you do that, you have two paths. You could go Legends, you could go to Street Stocks, or you could, I guess, three paths. You could do both. What did you do initially out of the gate? Did you just run everything, or did you say, I'm going to run this one?
I think I ran mostly street stocks. I wasn't too big into the Legends car.
If it makes you feel better, I'm still not into the Legends car, even though I think they redid it, but I haven't tried it since they've redone it, I guess. But um, when you got into the street stock, your first time, do you remember your first time you lined up for an actual race? And do you remember how it went?
I think it went pretty well. I was nervous, but I think I might have won it. I can't really remember.
Um, when iRacing works for those of you that don't know, iRacing works. It's a tiered system, just like what you almost would in the real world. You've got to prove that you're a clean driver. That you're competitive. Not that you're competitive because you can finish dead last and still move up, but you got to prove that you're a clean driver before you get out of the rookie status. And then you go to a D class, and then you work your way all the way up to an A class, which allows you to drive cup cars and things like that. So it's a pretty neat system that iRacing has. Um, when you got your D level license, which I think that opens the trucks and late models, or no, the trucks might have been C at that time. I think 10 years ago. I don't remember, but when you got your first promotion, where did you go at that point?
I think I might have went up to the late model. I think.
And how did you find the sledding and that? Because it's a big jump between the two, and not so much from the car and getting around the track, but the driving. Ricky level street stocks are, how do I put this? It's an adventure each and every race.
Yes, it was very much of a learning curve.
Yeah. But what was your first thoughts when you jumped up you got your first promotion?
But try not to wreck people every time you get on the track.
Did you have a favorite track early on?
I think USA was my favorite one.
Yeah, that was one I have logged a lot of laps. I think everybody who joins iRace and they log, I think that and Lanier and I think South Boston that you tend to make a lot of laps at. Um, what was your least favorite track? What was the one you're like, oh crap, not again?
South Boston would definitely be on that list.
Really?
Yep.
You get around South Boston pretty good these days. How did you improve? I mean, what do you think? Because do you like South Boston now? I guess is the first question I should ask.
I don't like it because when there is a wreck, there's nowhere to go.
So you still don't like it, okay? See, is there any tracks you've evolved on where you're like, yeah, this place they could just dynamite it and be done? Hey, I've kind of gotten to where I dig this place. Any tracks like that?
Langley is one of them because I've won there a couple times now, so I think I've gotten that place down.
Langley could be retired. I wouldn't miss it. Thompson would be the other one, but so you joined BRL all the way back in 2019, and you came in with the dirt, and how did you find BRL and you get into BRL, and the most important question: do you miss the dirt?
Pretty much from you guys at Gambler, just getting me into certain leagues and running with you guys, and I would say I don't miss the dirt because I never won a championship on the dirt.
Yeah, you were an asphalt guy at heart. You picked up the dirt and enjoyed the dirt a little bit, but when you came into the BRL on dirt, and then when you started running the asphalt, what were your first impressions of the league when you started running the asphalt side of things?
I just thought it was cool, and it was a good group of guys. They've always raced clean, so it's just fun to come out and hang out.
What's been your favorite BRL moment that you've had?
Probably from this season, battling with Edward Foster for that win. That was pretty cool.
Ah, the man from down under. Um, where was that at? And what? Yeah, which race was that at?
Oh, that was at Lanier. You were broadcasting it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I broadcast so many, man. I kind of forget from time to time, but yeah, everybody go back and check that out. You can all look at for all that stuff here on YouTube and go back and what do you remember specifically about that? Was it you had to get around him, or did you have to hold him off? What do you remember about that race?
Pretty much just slowly making my way through the field, and just once I got to him, it's either go low of him or go high side. I choose to go high and just send it.
Um, so do you like? I mean, it's always easier to start up front, less worry. But sounds like you really dig it when you that invert that BRL has, where you get to pass a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's kind of because when you're out back, you get to save your tires a little bit and let the guys up front burn it off. Then once you get rocket speed, you just go for it.
I started in the back last night and tried that, and I still blew the front tire off the car at Five Flags. I think that's where we were. Um, you know, I know that Monday night there's a new league, ARCA League, that's broadcast right here on VGN. I saw that you and Shaggy, from VGN here, both were in that race. So what are your thoughts, with that ARCA series, and are you gonna try to run that whole series?
I'm gonna try to run the full season. It's just Daytona is not my cup of tea anymore. Mine's short track racing and just going for it.
I haven't looked at their schedule. Is there gonna be a lot of short tracks on that schedule, or are they gonna follow kind of a quasi, I guess should I say, are they kind of follow kind of like a regular ARCA schedule? Is there like dirt and then road course and big track, small tracks, all that on it?
I don't think there's dirt, but they got a good mix of NASCAR tracks versus short tracks, which we're going to Phoenix this week for 100 laps.
Yes. Hopefully I'm there on track for that one myself and can join you guys, have a little bit of fun. Um, you know, how did you find that league then? I guess because that's a new league that we put together and broadcast 2 weeks ago. I don't even think that was on our radar here at VGN.
Shaggy pretty much got me into it, just very late saying, come race with me. I need someone to race with.
Very, very cool. Um, well, you also, kind of touched on it a little bit about with your BRL schedule, and sometimes real world racing kind of interrupts what you can do online here. Tell me a little bit about your real world experience.
I drive a four-cylinder at White Mountain Motorsports Park in New Hampshire.
How long you been doing that for?
This would be my third year.
Oh, I'll get to take the rookie stripes off, sort of, kind of. I guess if it depends on second or third. But um, what's been the coolest moment for you so far?
Probably getting a top 10.
What's been your oh man, I wish I could do that over. Oh my gosh, that kind of sucked. What's been that one for you?
Slamming the back church wall. That thing does not move.
That's the one you almost tipped over on, right?
Yep.
What happened there, and what were your thoughts when that was happening? Because I know firsthand, it's an interesting feeling when you feel the car start to get up and whatnot.
I got hit in the rear by someone and went down and slammed another car, then came back up and hit the same car that hit me and flipped that car over right next to me.
What were your thoughts there when everything was set? You have that moment in the car where you got to work things out. What were your thoughts?
It's just pretty much a flash. It's so quick that you don't even realize what's happening till you're done, and you just got to make sure to flip that switch off that shuts the whole car off.
So when does racing season get into full swing for you guys then?
Pretty much May 3rd, 4th, somewhere in there.
Are you planning on getting a full season out this year, or are you going to be hit and miss? And where are you? I mean, like, are you going to try to run a championship? I guess is what I'm saying there.
It's going to be hit or miss right now because as of right now, we don't exactly have any sponsors except for one. So it's kind of just going to be a hit or miss.
Well, hopefully some good finishes and get you some sponsors with the times that you have. That's you got to capitalize on those opportunities. So I mean, when you say hit or miss, I mean, are you like, okay, we're going to run the first three and then reevaluate where we're at, or the first four, or is it? Are you going to be week to week?
I'd probably just run the first two, then just pick and choose maybe. The Father's Day special is 50 laps, and that's one we'll be there for.
Yeah, that's the middle of June, and I know, you're up there in New Hampshire, which is, prime modified country. You mentioned earlier off, when we were off air, about the S or not the SKs, but the tour mods coming back up to your track. Um, yeah, I take it you got that date circled.
Yep, that date's for sure circled.
Are you so you're going to get to run, obviously not in the same division, but you're going to get to, are you on the same bill? You guys are going to be able to run the same night and everything else?
Yeah, it'd be the same night as long as they put my division on, because we got multiple divisions and they kind of pick and choose who gets the race what night.
Schedule hasn't been released yet?
Yeah, it's released. I just haven't posted it yet.
Ah, gotcha. Um, you know, are you a big SK, or are you more of a tour mod guy that you like to go watch when you're on the fan spectator side of the fence?
I like the tour mods more than the SKs.
Who's your driver?
Justin Bonsignor.
Oh, kid's done well for himself in a GGR car. Hasn't got the finishes that he's wanted, but he's done a heck of a job behind the wheel of that Xfinity car. When you're at the track and they show up and they have that top billing and all that, you guys get to interact with them very much, or have you? Better yet, have you gotten to interact with any of them?
Yeah, we get to interact with some of them, especially when I first saw them come to White Mountain. Justin delivered hand T-shirts to me, so that was kind of cool.
That is very cool. Hopefully he signed one for you.
I do have his autograph.
As I say, I do think he might end up racing on Sundays at some point. But how long ago did you get that autograph? I mean, was that back like when we were starting or recent?
I think that was like 2 years ago.
Before he was a household name, probably on a lot of people, well, at least a lot of people's radar at that point. So, how did you get into racing? Where did your love for racing start at?
Pretty much my brother's racing. My oldest brother raced actually the same car that I have now that I'm racing is the same one he drove, which he almost won a championship with.
Is he still racing?
He's searching for a car. My middle brother races a dwarf car.
How does he like that car?
He loves it because he's crazy.
Does he get to run the same track you do? Is that one of the divisions out there for you guys?
Yep.
Very cool. So I mean, was that your first experience at a racetrack? You had one of your brothers racing, or did you ever just just go to go before that?
We used to go to Thunder Road Speedball a lot.
I know you've got other experience too. Wasn't there a what is it called? I know it's not the car store, but there was a late model team. I think you kind of crewed on a little bit.
Yep.
That Canadian tour, or what is that thing? I forgot. I can't think of the name of it.
The American Canadian Tour?
Yeah, the ACT tour. Yep. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Oh, that was actually cool. They went to Loudon one year, and that's my first ever time going in the garage at Loudon. So that was kind of a cool bonus.
What did you do for them?
Normally gas, helped with the tires.
Cool. Did you guys get any wins, or were you guys just fighting for top fives? I mean, where'd you guys usually run?
I think he got some wins when I was with him too.
Nice. Who's the driver?
Marcel Gravel.
I think he's still running too.
Yep.
Correct. He ever
Yep,
go down and run any
help.
car? Does he run any cars races, or does he stay strictly with the ACT? Because I don't think I guess the cars are two different cars now that I think about it, so probably not.
He still races with the American Canadian Tour.
Do they ever come up? Does that series ever come up to your track?
Yep, they come 3 times.
Oh wow.
One is for 10 grand.
Did you ever get to go over north of the border with them?
Nope, I don't go across the border.
Well, that's cool. You got a lot of experience, background, and whatnot. From we talked about your spectators' point of view, but but the driver's point of view, or involved in the sport point of view. How about from a spectator's point of view? What kind of racing do you kind of, when you're at home, if you flip on? I mean, is there anything that you kind of watch and kind of enjoy watching from a fan's point?
Some of the dirt tracks I won't probably ever get to go to. Some of that stuff, the sprint cars, because we don't really have many dirt tracks up here. We have one that race tractors and occasional 360s.
When you say tractors, you mean the big block modifieds, or the 358 modifieds.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that might have just, a lot of people probably did a double take, because at least down here, there's places that actually run and race tractors, they lawnmowers, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. So, how far is the dirt track from you?
About an hour.
So do you guys ever go down there to watch, or you just that's just too far to justify going down there?
I only go there when the 360 sprint car tour that's up here goes there.
Very, very cool. We talked a little bit about your family, and you guys all seem to race together. It sounds like your family's all involved in each other's passion for the sport, but you're kind of carrying on another family legacy of being a firefighter. So tell me a little bit about your work, and what do you do with as far as the fire fighting goes?
Yeah, pretty much my father got me into it. He's been doing it for well over 30 years, and I just went in that footsteps and got my Fire 1 certification to go inside, and now the local department that we live in, I'm one of the main certified guys to go interior for them.
So when you say certified, how long is that training, and what is that?
That's about 240 hours now. It's a long course and training, going into burning buildings. They put you through the steps and get acquainted with it and just keep training.
Do you have like any ongoing training that you guys got to do to kind of make sure you keep up with stuff? I mean, I know that you practice and do things like that and run through just to keep your skills sharp. But from a certification standpoint, is there you guys got to renew that every few years or anything like that?
Nope, that one stays for you the rest of your life. The only thing the instructors will tell you is always keep practicing.
Yeah, yeah. When do you remember your first time you got a call that you had to go out on?
Yeah, it wasn't too nice of a call. I won't go into descriptions of it.
Okay, I was going to ask you what you remembered about that, but now I don't want to go down that route. So how long have you now been certified?
Oh, a couple of years now, 2, 3.
What do you think about it now that you've gotten, you've done it for a little bit here, and I mean, do you have the same mindset when a call comes in?
Pretty much, it's just a matter of there's always the danger. It's never gone away, and if you're not nervous going into a fire, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. When you've had to go into a building and whatnot, do you do any of the investigative work or anything like that to find out maybe where it started, or do you just go in, your job is just to get the fire out and get whoever could be in there out?
I have worked with a fire marshal once. That was pretty cool to see how he goes through his steps to figure out how it started or where it started. That was pretty neat.
Yeah, because that's almost forensics stuff, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
pretty
that
close.
would be that would be really really cool. I mean, I've never understood in somehow they managed to do it, but house just utter ruins and say, yeah, it started with this outlet right here. You know, how the heck do you figure that stuff out? It's amazing how they can trace it back, even though there's hardly anything left of a building. Um, but obviously the name of firefighting, you have the fire and they're going into buildings and all that. But do you also assist on natural disasters? Like snow events or flooding events? Do you guys get involved in that also?
Yeah, we just had a pretty good flooding last year in July that we had to help out with. 95% of the roads in our town were just gone.
Oh wow! So how did you guys? What did you guys have to do?
Pretty much just shut down roads, keep people safe. Just if you couldn't get out of your driveway, we would come bring you stuff if they needed it, and also running fire calls at the same time because half our roads were gone. So we had guys stationed everywhere, so them closest guys could respond to the incident if they had to.
Wow! Did you guys have to do like water rescues, or is that a whole different emergency department?
They did have to do one water rescue, which our department can do it. It's just I was on the wrong side of town when that went.
You were cordoned off by the water. Um, so you said your dad's done this for 30 years. I'm sure he's got to be decorated at this point for that kind of service and that length of service. Um, does he have any apprehensions about you doing it? Because I mean, I know make me a little nervous. I knew my son was running into a burning building.
I think he does, but he doesn't really say it because normally he's driving our tankers, so he's just as focused as I am when I have to go in. He's normally got objects of getting us water, so we're safe.
Does either of your brothers in that line of work too, or is it just you and your dad?
Just me and my dad. The other two not really into it.
How does your mom take that? Now she's got one person to worry about. She had one person 30 years to worry about. Now she's got two when those calls come in.
She's okay with it. She's getting nervous, but there has been a couple nights so we have gone out for 15 hours straight and never left, then came home, then had to go back out to the same address.
Oh wow. Um, do you guys ever get called in to help like surrounding communities, things like that also?
Yep, we do a lot of mutual aid. Like the last couple weeks, we've had 3 structure fires that we've had to deal with. One in our own town, but the other 2 are mutual aid calls.
And you have to excuse my ignorance here on this, but I've always kind of been curious. Okay, tell me the difference between a 3 alarm, 4 alarm, 5 alarm fire. What's the different alarms mean? What is that?
It pretty just matters of how many trucks come. Like, say our first alarm, it'll bring in like 5 or 6 departments, but maybe 1 or 2 trucks from each department, not say the whole field.
Gotcha. What is what's been the craziest thing that you've pulled up on that you can, I guess, that you can talk about there somewhere? I mean, was it a house fire? Was it maybe a car accident? The flooding? Because I mean, I've here in St. Louis, I think half the town's underwater, getting close to being underwater here with all the rain we've had in the last 3, 4 days. But so I've seen flooding firsthand, and that's a scary thing. What's the craziest thing you've ever been into?
Pretty much rolling up to a house where all the windows have broken out due to the heat of the fire and just blowing out like a steam train, just blowing out each window.
Wow. Um, that probably grabs your attention. And you guys have to go into those things with all that heat and how much your packs don't your packs weigh like 50 pounds, 60 pounds?
Normally, once we're all geared up with all our tools and everything, there's at least 80 to 100 pounds more weight on me from, especially with my body weight. It adds to it.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I mean, thank you and your dad for your service and all that. So is this something that you're set up then? Hopefully you have a career like your dad's 30 years. Is that what you're gonna do, or you have any other ambitions, something else, another field, or anything you want to be in?
We do a lot of that. I got my own business of doing car decals, and wrap my race car pretty much, so it all done in house.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about Young Guns Creations here. Let's get a plug for that in here for you. I know that there's a few guys even in BRL that have your paint. I run your paint. Um, so I've run your paints and everything else. So talk about it and tell me all the things that Young Guns Creations does.
Yeah, I do iRacing paints and obviously real life decals. I think I've sent some to Steven Spees for his real modified when they had it, and a lot of local guys up here, the guys that race at Stafford Motor Speedway, come to me for hats, and a lot of the guys, even the flag that's behind me, that's made by me, so that's pretty cool.
I see the hat you have on. I gotta assume that's also by you and all that. What's your
Yep.
favorite? What's your favorite to do that? I mean, that flag looks pretty cool. But what's your favorite?
It's pretty much doing the race cars that you get to go see, and just seeing the guy happy when it's all done, and just seeing their reaction to it and seeing it on the track. That's pretty cool.
Very cool. There's a lot of folks that have done quite well for themselves on that whole wrapping and all that kind of stuff. Do you you do? I take it also you do T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yep, I do all my own T-shirts. I don't have one on at the moment, but
Um, yeah. So hey, any league owners or anything that wants a copy of their league, stuff like that, nice shirts and stuff to put on Etsy or something like that. Go see Aiden here. He'll get you hooked up. Um, Designing the cars for iRacing, which car I gotta ask this, which car is the hardest to paint in iRacing?
probably
That you've painted, I guess.
probably the IndyCar. That thing's a nightmare.
The Indy car. I figured it had to be an Indy car or those prototypes. That's kind of what my guess was gonna be. So, why is the Indy car so difficult?
It's just a template. It's confusing, and you don't really know where the parts are. It's kind of hard to find them.
What's your favorite to do?
The ARCA car, the trucks. Those two are pretty much my favorite.
Um, when you've how many of those things I'm curious. Do you know how many you've done? Because I mean because you've done a lot for C2C, BRL. How many paintings have you done for folks? Do you know?
Well over 100. I just got done doing 4 this week. So,
Oh wow. Who are they?
Greg Parmalee and Gary Offit's cars for the ARCA League too that we're running.
Oh, they're gonna come run. Those are two C2C
Yep.
guys. They're gonna run that on Monday nights.
Yep.
Very cool. Um, yeah, I was gonna hit you up and see if you could put a Bass Pro one together for me. Um, yeah, like I said earlier, I needed to get a paint for that, and we'll talk later on that one then. Um, but so going back all the way to since we're talking the ARCA and the ARCA series and all that, with that car, you said you like to focus on the short tracks. What tracks do you think are you circled? I mean, are you look short tracks like Bristol, or are you like a short? Because there's a big argument. What is a short track? What isn't? Is Loudon an actual short track? It's a mile. Milwaukee, actual short track. So, which track do you think you're looking forward to going to the most in that car?
Probably New Hampshire, since they rescanned it. They actually did a really good job of updating it so it's not so. That's the
Yeah,
one I'm most excited.
I was surprised you'd say Mount Washington because that I know it's a little used in iRacing. Well, but is a Mount Washington like in your backyard?
Yes, it is.
Have you tried going down it?
Yeah, I have, and I've actually gone up it with a car in real life. That's sketchy.
Wow, at speed or just hey, I'm just driving up this road.
Just driving up it.
Wow, so I can't imagine trying to actually do it. Trying to get what you can get out of it. Yikes. Um, well, man, I tell you, we've covered a lot of ground here, and very, very cool to kind of get to talk to you and all that kind of good stuff. But we're kind of getting to the end of things here a little bit, and the last thing that I do with everybody is green, white, checkered. So it's your turn to play. So I'm going to give you an either or kind of scenario, and then I want you to tell me your thoughts and expand upon it a little bit, okay? And why you choose which one over the other. Ready? All right. Dirt or asphalt? Be careful.
Asphalt for sure.
All right, we're gonna have to have a team meeting. All right, why the asphalt?
And it's just when I'm more comfortable since I race asphalt in real life. I get more of an understanding of what happens than what I do with dirt.
Gotcha. Okay. Put your firefighter hat on. Brush fire, structure fire. Which one? It's hard.
I've done both, and one was a 15-acre fire, and I can tell you a structure fire is a lot better than a brush fire.
Wow, I think it was Jason Menda I had on here, and I asked him the same thing. He said the brush fires. Because there's no structure or anything, that just boggles my mind. Because you guys are in two very different. Jason, I think, is down in Florida, if I remember correctly. You're up. So, I mean, you got two different climates, but both are still very, very difficult on the brush fires. Man, that is
Have to act
crazy.
like a mountain goat.
All right, the last one. The SK or the late model?
The SK for sure.
Why?
It's just more forgiving and not necessarily easier to drive. It's just I like it more than the fendered wheels.
I gotcha. Well, Aiden, I really appreciate you playing along there. And what is the next race? I guess the next race you're going to have is going to be that Monday night ARCA League, right?
Yep, I've already done some practice with a couple guys and feel really good about it. So,
what is your expectation?
try to get a top 10 instead of being 31st at Daytona.
Yeah, what happened there at Daytona? I was watching part of that race. I didn't get to see what happened. I looked like you and Zach were trying to run around the back, but
yeah, we messed that all up, and a bump gone wrong, and I end up in the infield wall.
Wow. Hopefully you can get her turned around this week there down in the desert. So, well, good luck with that. We look forward to seeing you on that. When's the next time we might see you in the BRL?
I might run this week. Depends on what we're doing Saturday.
Well, cool. Well, hopefully we see you there. And thanks for joining us this week, Aiden.
Thank you for having me.
Yep, that is Aiden Young, this week's guest here on VGN Weekly. Tune in for all our episodes going forward. You can go back, watch all our old episodes. You can even see all the stuff that is VGN related right here on YouTube. Until I see you next week, my name is John Hine. Have a great week, guys.
Coming up on VGN. Tonight, April 8th, catch flag-to-flag coverage of yesteryear racing's 1966 Tour Modified Series live from Richmond Raceway at 8:30 p.m. The RLR Skidder Creek SK Modified Series will be live from Oswego Speedway on Thursday, April 10th at 7:55 p.m. The BRL Modifieds and Late Models from Oxford Plains Speedway will air on Saturday, April 12th at 7:40 p.m. The OBRL Yesteryear Cup Series goes live at 8 p.m. at Bristol Motor Speedway on Sunday, April 13th. Maximum Velocity Racing League's ARCA Series will be live from Richmond Raceway on Monday, April 14th at 9:30 p.m. And catch the next episode of VGN Weekly at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, April 15th. All times Eastern. You can see our full schedule and more at virtualgrip.net.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of VGN Weekly. Join us next time for race recaps, interviews, and much, much more. Please like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our broadcasts. If you are a league owner or potential sponsor and have a broadcasting need, please visit virtualgrip.net for info on how to get in touch with us. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network and the Skidder Creek Motorsports Group.